All right, so today we're going deep on Gene Hackman,
Oh, cool.
but with a really interesting twist.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at him through the eyes of Thai film critics.
Okay. Yeah, I think
It's it's fascinating to think about how somebody,
yeah.
you know, as iconic as Gene Hackman
Right.
can be seen in such different ways,
Yeah, absolutely.
depending on
Different
different
cultures,
depending where you are in the world.
different perspectives, and see different things.
Yeah.
These well-known performances. So
Exactly. And these Thai film critics
yeah.
bring some really unexpected perspectives
Mm-hmm.
that I think are going to add a whole other layer to
Yeah.
how we look at some of his most
Yeah.
famous roles.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that really jumps out
Yeah.
from reading through some of this criticism
Mm-hmm.
is this idea that Hackman
Okay.
really embodies this
Mm-hmm.
figure of authority,
Okay.
but not in like,
It's a straightforward way.
not the John Wayne kind of
Yeah, exactly. Not
Yeah,
like,
wow.
the sort of classic
archetype.
archetype, right?
Yeah.
And one critic actually mentions
Right.
specifically
Mhm.
Hackman's ability to portray characters
Yeah.
who wear the mantle of authority
Mm.
with the weariness
Interesting.
that resonates with this Thai concept
Okay.
of Kringjai.
Kringjai.
Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
I hadn't either.
Okay.
So Kringjai
Yeah.
is, I guess you could kind of think of it as like
Okay.
this really deep-seated
Oh.
cultural value in Thailand,
Oh.
of deference
Okay.
to authority, and this idea
Yeah.
of really trying to avoid
Interesting.
burdening others.
Okay.
So the critic is arguing that Hackman
Yeah.
often embodies this in
Mhm.
his roles,
Right.
especially when he's playing these law enforcement officers
Makes sense.
or military men.
Yeah. So it's not just about like,
Yeah,
being tough or commanding,
right.
but there's this like
This extra layer
added layer
that's nuanced.
of cultural understanding
Mm,
that the Thai critics are really picking up on.
that's cool.
And I think
Yeah.
that comes through in
Oh,
specific films.
I was going to say, you got an example.
Yeah. So like
Yes,
take
yes.
The French Connection.
A classic.
Right. Like
Mhm.
a lot of American audiences,
Yeah,
when they watch The French Connection,
right.
they probably focus on like,
The action.
like Popeye Doyle, just like
Cars.
relentless pursuit of justice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But Thai critics actually see something
Right.
more nuanced
Interesting.
in that film.
Yeah.
And one critic even points to this
Oh, wow.
subway scene
Okay.
where Doyle's like visibly exhausted
Mm-hmm.
and he almost lets the suspect get away.
Yeah, I've always found that scene
Yeah.
to be really, like, stressful to watch.
Yeah, it's super tense, but
Yeah.
I never really thought about it
Yeah.
from that angle.
Interesting.
And the critic argues that
Yeah.
that moment is actually Kringjai, right?
Okay.
It's like this moment
So he's, like,
of Doyle
Yeah.
being burdened by
burdened by his responsibility.
Yeah. The weight of his responsibility.
And that's what makes it.
And it adds this tragic dimension
Yeah.
to the character
Totally.
that I think resonates really deeply with
yeah.
Thai viewers.
I could see that.
Yeah. It's like you might never
Yeah.
catch that detail
Right.
unless you were looking at it
Mm-hmm.
through this really
It's the cultural lens.
specific cultural lens, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this theme of authority
Yeah.
viewed through the lens of Kringjai,
Mhm.
it kind of extends to other films too.
Okay.
Think about like
Okay.
Little Bill Daggett
Okay.
in Unforgiven,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like Thai critics,
Mm-hmm.
while acknowledging
Yeah.
his brutality,
Of course.
they also point out
Yeah.
these moments where he seems
Mm-hmm.
almost burdened
Yeah.
by
Right.
the need to maintain order.
It's not black and white.
Yeah, in this
It's not a straight villain.
chaotic world,
Yeah.
right? And it makes that
Totally.
final confrontation
With money.
with William Money
Yeah.
even more like heartbreaking
It is.
because you see him as like
It adds this whole other
a man trapped by circumstance,
layer to it.
not just a straight villain.
Exactly. And it's all
Yeah.
Hackman's performance.
It's just,
Yo.
it's fascinating how
Yeah.
this perspective
For sure.
adds this whole other layer
Yeah.
of depth
Yeah.
to the character.
Absolutely.
And then that kind of connects to another
Yeah.
key takeaway
Okay.
from the Thai critics,
Mm-hmm.
which is this
Okay.
Hackman's ability to like
Yeah.
really evoke empathy, even for characters
Yeah.
who do terrible things.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And we see that
Yeah. Where do you see that?
in Mississippi Burning.
Oh, yeah. Too, right?
Mississippi Burning. Oh, yeah.
Like, that's a film that's
Yeah.
directly addressing
Tough subject matter.
some really, like, dark chapters in American history.
Absolutely.
And the critics were really struck
Okay.
by Hackman's portrayal
Hmm.
of Agent Anderson.
Yeah.
Who is this man
Yeah.
wrestling with his own prejudices
Right.
while trying to
While trying to solve this crime.
solve this horrific crime?
Right.
One critic even described Anderson as like
Okay.
a reluctant hero,
A reluctant hero.
which is a term they use a lot
Interesting.
for characters who are flawed,
Okay.
but ultimately driven by this desire to do what's right.
Yeah.
So he's not
Not your typical hero.
a traditional hero,
Yeah.
right? But somebody who's like more complex.
Really struggling
Yeah.
with internal conflict,
Makes him more human.
which
Yeah.
I think makes him
Sure.
more
You're right.
relatable,
Yeah, definitely.
more human.
I'm curious.
Oh, wait.
I'm curious how
Yeah.
the Thai critics responded to
Yeah.
the film's depiction of
The racial tension.
racial tension.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because obviously
Yeah.
their perspective is going to be different
It's going to be very
from
rich.
like an American one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they definitely acknowledge
Oh,
the
I-
historical context,
Mm.
but they were more drawn to like the individual struggles
Okay.
of the characters.
So more the micro than the macro.
Yeah, and they saw it as this story about human nature,
Yeah.
about the
okay.
complexities,
Not just like
right and wrong.
a political statement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than just like a simple story
Yeah.
about racism.
Which I think is
Yeah.
really insightful
Yeah.
because it shows how like a film
Yeah,
can transcend
it tells culture.
its specific cultural context.
Right, and speak to a
And speak to like
larger human
these universal themes.
experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the power
And Hackman's the one.
of Hackman's acting. That's bringing that,
Hackman so much.
like bringing that to the table.
Depth and nuance
That's the performance
to these roles
that allows for that.
that they resonate
Yeah,
across cultures.
makes you think and feel.
He makes us think,
Yeah.
feel, and like
Question yourself.
question our own assumptions.
Yeah.
Totally.
Powerful stuff.
So as you
Yeah.
delve deeper into
Yeah.
Gene Hackman's films,
Right.
think about these perspectives.
The Thai critic.
Which performance
Yeah.
resonates with you
Mhm.
the most
Yeah.
and why?
Why that one?
Consider the roles,
Yeah.
the scenes,
The
the emotions that they evoke.
Absolutely.
And remember,
Yeah.
sometimes looking at a familiar face
Mhm.
through a different lens
A different lens.
can reveal something new.
Something entirely new.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
I think we learned a lot today
I did for sure.
about Gene Hackman.
Yeah, absolutely.
about
different ways of seeing
Different cultures can interpret
for sure.
these
Same performance,
They-
different.
country.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Great deep dive.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.